Welcome back. We're in the final moments of trade and it's turned out to be a very strong afternoon after all. Anand, before we let you go, any thought on cement stocks? There's some excitement now. The monsoon season is out of the way. Shree Cement, for instance, is closing pretty much at the day's highs. Any of these names that you would like?
Well, cement is a long-term story, so you can probably get into that. I think the central Indian stocks remain good, so I would still prefer a Heidelberg. If you are looking at a larger thing, then I'm sorry, the name is slipping my mind. But the second-run cement companies are probably a little cheaper than Dalmia Bharat is the name I was thinking about. Dalmia Bharat is probably well positioned among the larger companies in terms of valuations, etc.
Okay, all right. Thanks very much for joining in, Anand. Always good talking to you. We'll catch up again in the coming weeks. So let's close this down, Anuj. This is, you'd say, a strong session at the high.
Yeah, at the highest point. I think we're closing at the highest point, Surabhi, 11,666. Look, but I'll just say one thing. It was just, I think, 10 days back that we were at 10,800. Remember, and how the market had turned, the 200-day moving average, and all of a sudden, how markets have turned. So, things change on a dime in this market. And let's see how global markets also react from here on. But for today, at least, we have closed above a very important, mark in terms of closing levels. I think this is the highest closing that we've had ever since that March drawdown on the market. So that way, the closing today is very significant. Led by the banks today, of course. That's the interesting part today. The move has been led by the financials. Stock of the day, without a doubt, was HDFC. 8% higher on that. It was not the top Nifty gainer, that was still Tata Motors, but the sheer size of the stock and the way it moved today. It was TCS yesterday, it was HDFC today. Big move on that. Tata Motors as well, of course, up 8%. But the other financials like HDFC Bank, IndusInd Bank, Kotak, HDFC Life, SBI, across the board, there was a big move. Mahindra & Mahindra was up 3.5%. Adani Ports, where we had a bit of a news, was up 3.5% as well. Then, of course, cement stocks made a move. Ultratech Cement was up 2%. Shree Cement, towards the end, made a big move in trade, which was up about 1%. Gale, Grasim, Divi's were among some other winners. On the way down, there was some profit taking or some decline in names like Tata Steel, which was down 1%. Wipro as well corrected a bit after a big move. Britannia was down about 1.5%. Hindalco was down about 1%. And BPCL has been on a way down for some time now. So that stock as well was a bit soft, but a big day, at least as far as the large caps are concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. It was an out-and-out large cap day because mid caps, if you take a look at it, well, the index is up just about 0.5%. So paling in comparison, you'd have to say. Nonetheless, let's talk about the stocks that moved. Thyrocare definitely takes the cake, 17% up almost. They've spoken about a very good second quarter with testing picking up. So that worked well for the stock. Then some of the erstwhile names that you'd hear of from the small cap arena, Waterbase about 11% up. Sobha's, of course, Q2 update went down very well with the market. Good outlook on their sales. So 10% on that stock as well. These were some of the big movers and shakers. What else can we spot for you? LIC Housing Finance, Repco Home Finance. So some of the optimism that HDFC shared with the market, that seemed to have rubbed off on some of the smaller housing finance companies as well. We've seen some gains come in on Bombay Dyeing, some gains on RCF, IDFC First Bank also adding into the momentum. Stocks like Havells looking quite all right. Mindtree and DLF are some of the other names on the upside. If we talk about correction, there are a little bit of a cool off on some of the sugar names like Balrampur Chini. And we've seen some money move out of Jubilant Food and also out of some of the metal names like SAIL today, 2% down on SAIL. So that's how it's played out as we get into the close, 11,660. Let's take final thoughts with our guests. So Ashwini, I mean, we've closed bang at the day's high. The question is now, how do you play this market? I mean, after this run up, can you still buy tomorrow? Are you better off thinking of shorting it? Or what's the strategy now?
See, whatever you do, don't go short in the market, because that short trade was valid at 11,580. but that getting crossed significantly now means that at some point we should look at 11,800. Now, should you buy tomorrow morning? Should you buy after a consolidation? My sense would be that if you get a retest of 11,580, 600 on the downside for any reason, that would be a good place to get long, because your stop is hardly 20-30 points and you would be moving further. Bank Nifty is headed towards 23,500, again around 22,700. If you get that sort of dip, you buy it, but be clear that there will be volatility. Although today's market shows you that fresh momentum may have started on banks, because the traditional wisdom was that post yesterday's court case verdict, whatever, banks should go into correction. So it has basically wrong-footed everybody, and that creates momentum of its own.
Okay, point taken. Ashwini, today we didn't talk about Tata Motors. I just wanted to get your idea on the levels. I mean, there's this phenomenal surge because suddenly everybody thinks that China sales are picking up. But is there any sense in looking at a trade at all at this point?
See, Tata Motors for the last many days has been in consolidation, and post 155, I think levels of 185, 190, which have been historic highs, those could be tested. So possibly Tata Motors has given a buy trade, and you could buy it even tomorrow because it's not had a strong run up. So that way, this is the sort of stock that you want to buy.
Okay. Mitesh, your take on the market action today as well, given this absolutely strong close. How would you approach a trade on Wednesday?
I was looking at a test of 11,720, 750 zone, which is the area where we had the highest hourly closing. The last time we were here and we peaked out at these levels, 11,735 to be precise. But I think around those levels I would expect some profit booking to come in. The Bank Nifty, as I've said, has led from the front, and I think the Bank Nifty could see a lot of supply between levels of 23,250 to about 23,400, which is where a falling gap exists. And it will be a difficult level for the Bank Nifty to clear this 23,400 zones approximately. So I think another couple of percentage points higher for both the indices, I would take profits and stay out of position. We'll also prune down our long exposure on the stocks and see if the indices have strength to go further immediately. So that is something which I'm not sure about. So as we hit the supply pivots, maybe tomorrow or day after, I think we'll be in more of profit booking mode.
Got it. So you're slamming the brakes, if not slamming them, gently pressing the brakes at least after this big rally. All right, Ashwini and Mitesh, thanks very much. We'll touch base again with the market tomorrow. Right now, we do have to take a break. This is going to be a wrap on Closing Bell, but don't go anywhere because we have a big interview lined up. SBI Chairman Rajneesh Kumar's term is coming to an end today. He gets candid with Lata Venkatesh after this break.